folks. The Field and Garden Podcast is honored to be partnering with the Growing for Market magazine. They have been publishing practical ideas and information for direct market flower and vegetable growers for over 31 years. All the articles are written by farmers who get their hands dirty and know what they're doing. The magazine is still on the same mission as when the Flower Farmer book author Lynn Basinski founded this magazine back in 1992 to connect growers with the best ideas from other growers. There is dedicated flower content in every magazine, a decade's worth of back issues, and over 1,600 archived articles from writers like Aaron Benzenkane, Gretel Adams, Pamela and Frank Arnowski, and Jonathan and Megan Lease, all available on the website. With 10 new issues every year available on paper, digital, or both, you're guaranteed to find something to fine-tune your farm in growing for market. So if you do farmers markets, CSA, farm stands, pick your own, florist sales, or wholesaling, whether you're a commercial grower or you just want to grow like one, subscribe to Growing for Market for the nitty-gritty details of growing, marketing, and the business of local farming. And I have a special offer for you. Use the coupon code WORKSHOP to get 25% off any subscription to the original Farmer to Farmer magazine at growingformarket.com. Hey friends, welcome back to another Field and Garden podcast. It is your friend and host, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and hey, thanks for popping in. So friends, I have reached the end of a long road, and I wanted to share kind of some of the steps that I'm actually going to realign my priorities is kind of what I'm naming this. But sometimes we just need refreshers and reminders of how to get back on the job, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to kind of tell you what I'm doing. But before we do that, if you're new here, welcome aboard. If you want to learn more about the Gardener's Workshop and the work that we're doing, I'd love to have you pop over to thegardenersworkshop.com, which is our home base for our website. And it's the home to a lot of different pathways you can follow, from our online garden shop that sells the same tools, seeds, and supplies that I use here on my farm and you hear me mention from time to time. It is the host to all of our online courses for flower farming and for gardening, as well as tons of resources. You can learn more about our sister podcast, Seed Talk. It's just home base to everything, and invite you to go over there and check that out. So what am I talking about realigning my priorities? Well, I am at the last steps of wrapping up my latest book project, which you'll be learning more about that in the coming weeks. And that has been the main focus for me this last almost year now. Just from everything to every step of the way, I feel like is the hardest part. But every part just takes a lot of my brain power and my focus. And I want to just first off give a shout out to the Gardener's Workshop team, the people that are making the fulfillment center and the online shop work and move without my everyday presence, as well as the online courses. We just have a great team of people that they just make the business roll forward, while I have just been able to focus all of my brain power on this book. Well, that book is coming. We're wrapping it up. We're at the last 5 to 10%. And I was struggling with, all right, now what? as we're wrapping the book up, what did I used to do? What are my responsibilities? And, I find that this is kind of where I come to after you kind of are stepping off, right, from these big projects. Or it may even be for you, are you ready now to grow your business? Or what's the next step for you? And I want to say that also, just simply being overwhelmed where you are in your business, all of these issues, I think, can be the next step is kind of the same step, right? So I just wanted to share for you what my steps are as I'm wrapping up the book. And it's like, all right, what am I doing? And all of this led me to revisit class 1 in flower farming school, which is available now, by the way. And that whole first class is about let's just talk about what it is. The first class is about, number one, it has some really great steps of evaluating what am I doing all day, every day now. It's like for me, I don't know about you, I live a very structured business life. I mean, I get up and do the same things over and over again on the same days. For Flower Farm, and that was like so very structured, which I believe was really what was a good part of what pushed me to become successful. But now that my duties are changing again, right? I'm not getting up and writing a book or working on imaging or working on parts of the garden that need to be imaged. What images do we need? I needed to go through the steps that I share in class 1 of flower farming school of what am I doing? A brain dump, a daily log, figuring out, okay, what am I spending my time doing? Because I will tell you that as I'm waning now over this changing gears, I'm finding that, and it's not that I don't need some downtime, because I am surely taking those steps also, but I'm falling into some habits that I don't think are beneficial for the business during my business day. So I'm really evaluating what am I doing. And sometimes, as I say in flower farming school, do not do this step on your device. You need to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen or pencil and let this stuff flow out of your mind, down your arm, and out your hand onto a piece of paper. There is definitely benefits to having this something that you can physically hold in your hand. And that's kind of where I am and what I am actually doing. And it's like, then, okay, so then the next step is, so what is my next step? What is it I want to do now? What are the business needs? When I was a flower farmer, it's like, all right, what do I need to do now to help build up my business? I can still remember, oh my goodness, it seems so obvious right now, but back when I was in the heat of flower farming, I can remember that there were so many flowers that I never had enough of them. It's like the way that I sold my flowers was customer by customer each week. So some of my customers never even knew that I grew certain crops, because by the time I got to them, all of that had sold out. Why did it never occur to me to drop some of the less in-demand crops and grow more of those crops? Y'all, it was like an eye-opening moment. What did my business need? My business needed to sell more of those super in-demand crops, meaning maybe growing less variety, but more of those varieties that were proving to sell over and over again. So that is kind of where I am now. It's like, all right, what does the business need from me? What am I supposed to be doing? And then once I figure that out through these steps that I share in class 1 is, do I have the cash to actually do that? One of the things that I share in flower farming school over and over again, and I talk about it a lot on social media, is you need to get in low and earn high. And how you do that is by starting from seed, growing some in-demand annual crops that you can sell and create cash flow. And if you don't even have enough cash to do that in the beginning, like to get seed, to get your seed starting equipment and supplies and perhaps irrigation and a load of compost to get your beds prepared, then you need to do something to make $1,000, whether that's a side hustle, a part-time job, whatever you need to do. You need to evaluate how can I get in and do this with the cash that I have. So that is just another part of the process of these business steps that you're actually following. And then what do I need to do to make it come true? What is the setup that I need? And what are the steps that I need to take? Like say for me, where I am now, okay, what do I want to help promote, build, and grow in my business? Is it my social media presence? Do we need more followers? Do we need a bigger email list? Do we need to revisit? What do people want to learn and know? There's all of these steps, and taking a look at what am I set up to do and what do I need to do to make this come true. And then looking at what assets do I have. This is perhaps one of the most affirming things sometimes when I want to tackle, whether it's growing your business or whatever your next step is, or if I'm just blooming overwhelmed where I am, taking a step back and saying, all right, what have I accomplished? Or what pieces of this next project do I already have a part of it to make it happen? So taking a look at what assets I already have. I call it, I think in the course, it's like stepping back and looking what you already have, taking inventory, going out and looking in your tool shed and standing and looking in your garden and thinking, all right, I already have a spot in the sun. I already have a garden space. There is the number one asset that I need. Now, what else do I have? And it's not only does that check stuff off your list, but it kind of builds you up a little bit and helps you realize, you know what? I may be able to actually tackle this darn job, right? Then the next thing for me, which, seems so obvious, but sometimes we just don't do it, is stopping to get organized. Making a step-by-step plan. Yes, Tucker's waking up. Sorry, y'all. To make a step-by-step plan of, all right, I need to get the garden ready. I need to start seeds. Do I have the seeds? When do I need to get the seeds? When do I start? Start making a roadmap to actually make whatever your next step in this business that you're doing to come true. It just helps so much to have a list of 10 things perhaps. It's like, all right, this is what I'm focusing on today. And when you reach that goal, it's like, all right, this is next. Helps so very, very much. And then something that has become really, really important to me is how to do all these steps and keeping it in life balance. I will confess, as I share in school, that, when I first started, I was farming from sun up to sundown, 6 days a week, and still not getting it all done. So y'all, even when you sacrifice it all, it still does not work out that way. You have to draw a line in the sand. The last probably 10 years of my flower farming career through the high production years, and now is, we work 5 days a week, basically, from early morning to mid-afternoon, and then we're done for the day. And that was my goal. Maybe that's not your goal, but I'm saying you are the one that's in control of that. You're the only one that can fix it, change it, and make it so. And these steps are what help lead you to. So that's the other part of this process that I'm thinking. It's like, all right, say for instance, there are times when we go into promotions and launches where I'll say, all right, I'm going to do some evening work. That's not part of my daily business life, but there are special times when all hands are on deck, and we do some of those types of things. So that is in my consideration and my realigning of priorities. Priorities sometimes have to be bent, but not always. That's not my daily business life, right? So what is keeping me from moving forward? What's holding up the train of realigning my priorities? And some of these, y'all, you don't even realize they're there until you really take a step back and look. And that's really what the whole first class is about. I think that your reaction, if you're a new student or a student that's revisiting class 1, which I recommend, y'all, I'm 25 years into business and I'm rewatching that first class of what I recommend you do to remind myself to actually revisit it over and over again. My reaction to the footprint of class 1 when I learned it from my business coach was, oh my goodness, this is such a waste of my time. Y'all, we've got to stop and realize the people that are successful, you have to look at what they do and mimic it. You have to change what your priorities are. So what are they? What's holding me up? Well, first off, for me, excuses. Oh, well, I can't do that until I get this, this, and this. I can't do that until I have, I have this lined up. Excuses, excuses, excuses. Friends, you just have to dive in and do it with what you have. That is the true jumping off the cliff. Nobody is fully prepared. Nobody ever was fully prepared. And here's the other thing. Well, I'm waiting to get help from XYZ because I need help doing this, that, or the other. There is nobody but you in your business. Even if you have a business partner, while I have lots of great help in my business, I have a very supportive family. My husband is 100% behind me, but I am the one that has to sit down and take the steps. Do not wait for people to help you. You have got to just jump in. And then what's the other super easy way? This is something that happens to me. Don't fall victim to scrolling. You're thinking, oh, well, I bet somebody else is doing it. Let me just look on social media. And you just find yourself scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Don't fall victim of comparing yourself to other people and how successful they are. Because let me just tell you something. Behind every pretty picture is about 100 not such pretty pictures. And you just need to remember that. I think there's strong benefits on social media. I mean, I use it. It's an amazing marketing tool. But you are the only person that can control how you use it. And I'm just reminding you of that. And the other thing is waiting. You're waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time is right now. It's like, how many times have we read, If you didn't plant a tree 20 years ago, today is the perfect time to plant it. You just have to start. You just have to do the darn job. And I am gaining so much. I mean, how can this help me so much after I wrote the course myself, y'all? And I'm revisiting it and realizing, holy cow, how much time am I wasting every day doing that? And then here I am back on the job trying to realign what my business needs that's going to affect the bottom line, which is the point of business, so I can have better, more in-depth family and lifestyle benefits for me, what my choices are. And I just want to say that take a moment. If you're a student, sit down with class 1 and hit the high spots and see how it can help you realign your priorities. Totally benefiting me, and particularly if you are totally overwhelmed in business. It's like, all right, what is really helping the business bottom line? What am I doing? What can I reevaluate? And just realizing that we get into habits that aren't necessarily good ones. And then you have to rest. That is just such a really, I talk about it as family time, rest time. Y'all, I just can't tell you how exhausted I have been burning a lot of candles. And less is better oftentimes. And there is no harder thing for me to embrace than that. I feel like more is what it takes. And it's so easy to fall victim to that when you have so many responsibilities. But I invite you, if you aren't a student, Flower Farming School Online, the basics, annual crops, marketing, and more is the foundation steps that have come from my 25 years of flower farming and doing it no matter where you are in considering that, whether you are a budding wannabe, just starting, or you've been in for a while and you just need to hit the reset button. I invite you to check it out. You can learn more about it at thegardenersworkshop.com. You can read student reviews. We love for you to give a shout out on social media. Has anybody taken this course? And hear what they have to say, what it's like. And then last but not least, we have a guarantee, 7-day guarantee. If you go in and it's not what you think, we'll give you your money back. And so friends, here is to flipping the page to the next step for me, for you, for all of us, because the future is bright in domestic flower farming as the demand is strong. We're importing billions of dollars of flowers, which, the ceiling doesn't exist in the cut flower world, in my opinion. When you become a professional and get your priorities worked out. All right, friends, until we meet again, ciao.